The Chicago Bears may have their new swing tackle. They have signed offensive tackle / offensive guard. He's played basically every position on the offensive line. Matt Pryor from the 49ers to a 1-year contract. Not sure about the money yet, but probably going to be pretty cheap. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears news update video, which I'll be doing anytime the Chicago Bears news going on. And the Bears made another depth signing. It's not a flashy, exciting signing, but these are the types of signings that you do have to do to build depth on your roster. And the Bears did have to add more pieces on the offensive line, especially at tackle. This guy can play guard too if he needs to. He's played guard in the past, but he's mostly been a tackle. And I think that adding a backup tackle was a need for the Bears via the NFL draft or via free agency, because right now we really only had Larry Borom at backup tackle with any sort of starting experience. And I don't think Ryan Poles really likes Larry Borom, okay? That's why he drafted Darnell Wright last year. He also drafted Braxton Jones the first year that he took over as GM. And last year, Larry Borom was okay as a backup swing tackle, but I don't think he fits the Bears scheme that well. And he was a Ryan Pace draft pick. And so far, Ryan Poles has moved on from the vast majority of Ryan Pace draft picks. So, I think Larry Borom's time in Chicago could be over with a move like this, and probably more moves to come on the offensive line. But yeah, it's another veteran backup signing. Nothing to be too crazy excited about, but it is like a eat your vegetables type of thing where you do have to do it to grow a big and strong team, right? Like, you need good backups on your team. And Matt Pryor is an okay backup. He's not a great backup, but last year he did actually play pretty well in limited playing time for the 49ers. And let's talk about what he's going to be bringing to the Chicago Bears. So Matt Pryor was a round 6 pick back in 2018 by the Philadelphia Eagles, and he actually is not very athletic, which is a little bit surprising to me that Ryan Poles went after an offensive lineman that maybe cannot move as fast as some of the other offensive linemen he's gone after, but pretty big guy, okay? So he is 6'6", weighs 330 pounds about, but you can see the speed is not the best. But he did play for the 49ers last year that do run the wide zone scheme that Shane Waldron is bringing here to Chicago. So he already has some experience playing in his scheme like the Bears are going to be running, although in very limited playing time. But he did play well in that limited playing time. So maybe he can move a little bit better than his combine stats suggest. But he's definitely no Darnell Wright or Braxton Jones in terms of overall athleticism. But if you look at his PFF stats, so last year with the 49ers, in only 42 snaps played, so not a big sample size, he played pretty well in those snaps, had an 88.5 overall grade, 87.7 run blocking grade, 80.8 pass blocking grade, so held up pretty well in those limited playing snaps. But with the Indianapolis Colts back in 2022, did not have a great season that year, where he did have to play a lot of snaps at left tackle though, and at right guard and right tackle, so he had to move all around the offensive line, which could not have been easy to keep on switching positions, which could have played into why his stats via PFF were not that good at all. But in 2021 he actually did play pretty well, even though he was moving around a lot again, and he had a 76.5 overall grade. And then before that he did not play too many snaps, but he had pretty average grades in his first couple seasons in the NFL. So hopefully, for the Chicago Bears, if he's only going to be a backup, he can play more like he did last year with the 49ers, where in only 42 snaps, he played pretty well in those snaps. And obviously for the Chicago Bears, we're going to be hoping that he never has to step on the field ever for us, unless it's in like a 6 offensive lineman type of formation. We want Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright to remain healthy the entire season. But if he does have to come in, he does already know the scheme to some extent. He played in it last year. He had good amount of success last year. He is 29 years old, so has had a lot of time spent in the NFL. So as a backup, I think he could be potentially better than Larry Borom at swing tackle. So yeah, overall, not too much else to say about this signing. It's a pretty decent signing, a guy that could play guard if he needs to, could play tackle if he needs to as well. So I do think this guy could make the team. I know it's a pretty cheap signing probably, but I do expect Matt Pryor to make the team, at least at this point in time before the NFL draft. If we do draft more guys, maybe he gets left on the outside looking in. But I do think having a veteran that knows what he's doing, that has played multiple positions on the offensive line, that could be a big benefit to the Bears offensive line. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the signing down below in the comments. Hopefully Ryan Poles makes a couple more starter level signings. Like hopefully we get a receiver number 3. Hopefully we get, another pass rusher at defensive tackle or at edge rusher. Like, we don't need too much, but I do think the Bears have to make a couple more like bigger signings to call this free agency a success, but overall I do like what he's doing. He's not breaking the bank like a Ryan Pace would, which I know a lot of Bears fans are a little bit upset at. Even I'm a little bit annoyed sometimes that we're not going after the big fish like a Danielle Hunter who went to the Houston Texans. But we saw Ryan Pace's way of spending crazy amount of money in free agency on day one not really work out for us long term. I think Ryan Poles does have a plan long term that hopefully is going to work out, but we're just going to have to wait and see if it is. Okay, he's going to try to build probably through the NFL draft. Like he said in his opening press conference, okay, I don't think it's going to be that much of a surprise if he wants to do the main roster building via the NFL draft. But I do hope at least a couple more signings come at like receiver or like edge rusher, like I mentioned. So leave your comments down below, guys. As always, bear down.